Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
All right. I'm Mohammed Nuru from the Department of Public Works. I want to first begin by thanking all of you for coming out today. It is a very, very great day in San Francisco. Yeah? Have a big hand. All right. I remember about 16 months ago when we were here, we broke ground on this site. And today we are here for the topping ceremony. It's going to be a very, very great event, but I would like to first of all just thank San Francisco Police Department, Fire Department, DPW, and everybody who have got us to this point. As we all know, public safety is the #1 priority in this city, has been #1 priority for our mayor. And so today is a very, very great day as we take this step in topping this public safety building. Before I introduce our mayor, as many of you know, when Mayor Lee ran for office, there were 3 very important things that the mayor said he was going to do. And one of them was he was going to create jobs. And we all know all these projects, we have our ordinances that make sure that we have people on these jobs. He also is an environmental stewardship, that we would do everything we can to protect our environment and build green and LEED buildings. This building here will represent that. And finally, as I said earlier, public safety was his #1 priority. So without going too further, let me introduce the man who has worked very hard to get us to this point, our Mayor, Mayor Ed Lee.
Thank you, Mohammed. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Mission Bay. In 2010, the Board of Supervisors and the mayor did everything it could to create a dialogue with our voters and ask them to pass a very important bond, the Earthquake Safety and Emergency Response Bond of 2010, $412 million bond, and that should they pass it, we would honor it with the best thought and planning process that the city could provide. And of course, all the agencies came together, our law enforcement agencies, and I'm glad to see our police commission here, fire commissions here, of course our 2 chiefs are here, working in concert with the capital planning group, with Public Works and its architectural divisions, its city engineer, and its construction managers, working with the private sector at PanCal and HOK and all the subcontractors to put together this ESSER bond program, and particularly this public safety building to be the first gem, as I say, of public safety buildings that has so much attached to it, so many promises, and that we weren't not just willing to deliver, we are delivering this on time, on budget, with all the highest levels of cooperation, because we know how important it is. I don't just want to talk about being earthquake sensitive. We have to do the things to make sure we are ready. And this public safety building represents years of planning, a lot of struggle with finance people, controller's office and others about bringing this in, because we also made a promise that these bonds would not increase people's property taxes, and that we would retire the old bonds in order to create the room for these bonds that would not increase the property tax burden of our residents. And so we are doing it. And so topping off means you bring all of your contract paraphernalia with you, because we're going to do a lot of these in the years that I'm mayor to make sure these projects are completed. And I'm glad to see again the top of the steel beam, some one of 6,205 pieces of steel that began their erection back in January, and now we're here topping it off. And it's important to know that this steel goes up, because that means this building, it's on its way to completion. The date of completion is November 2014, when the public will start using this. It will house Station 4 of our fire department. Yes. It will house Southern Station of our police department. And it will be the new command police headquarters for Chief Sir and his command staff as well. I was there at DPW for years, and we were struggling about how we're going to replace 850 Bryant Street. And obviously, with the financial mechanisms that we have, we can only do it in phases. But we mean to begin these phases deliberately, because only when we do this part can we then work on the courts and on the jails and all the rest of the agencies that are still housed, the DA's office and others that are still housed in that very old building. Today, it's about the new public safety building, 700 construction jobs. Thank you, union, for all the contracting unions, PanCal, the designers for working together on this. I also want to make sure I note that our police union and our fire union are here today as well to celebrate this, because they know their workforce will be housed in more safe buildings, and we mean to do that for every police and every fire station. We'll have to do more ESSER bonds in the future to cover everything, but this particular bond has at its main gem $239 million dedicated to this public safety building. We're also using that bond to work on the auxiliary water system and on some of our fire stations that are in worse shape. We want to continue doing that, and we'll get to the others in future bonds. It's a commitment that reflects today. We wanted to top this off. It came as a very nice compliment to today's 170th anniversary of our 1906 earthquake, as we did this morning, but also what happened this morning about discovering a suspicious package just goes to remind us both that we're vigilant, that we have to do these things and keep our city safe. And I want to thank, again, the men and women in all of our emergency response, in our law enforcement, for their dedication. Today it's about celebrating the contractors and all their great work that they're doing, and working with all of our DPW folks and everybody in the construction, because the topping off is so significant to suggest, more than suggest, to confirm that we're on time and on budget. You know, the confidence that the public has with us handling these bonds is very important. And I value that. I value that relationship, because for Supervisor Kim and Board President Chu, this is what we live for, right, supervisors? We live for that public trust. We earn it, and we earn it by making sure these projects are done right and done on time. And so with that, we know we will have other bonds that we will talk about more, but this is really important because it's earthquake safety. And it's today, this morning, again, with the board's help, we signed off on the soft story seismic retrofit program to suggest that some 3,000 other soft story buildings in our city will get the attention and get firmed up with the soft story bond, while we take care of the low-income tenants that are living there, to make that affordable for them as well. So I want to celebrate and thank DPW for their leadership here, for the 10-year capital planning group that has their focus too on honoring the public's wishes, and for all the different, some 10 different agencies coming together to make this public safety building happen. Again, to honor everybody here. And by the way, 700 construction jobs, 20% were committed to local hiring. That's how smart we're doing this. And it's going to be a LEED Gold building that we're putting up. So we're honoring the environment at the same time. Again, thanks to the wonderful collaboration that goes on with all of our designers, being sensitive to the way energy needs to be more efficient. Everything is being done right on this, and I want to be very, very thankful to everybody working together. Congratulations, and we'll look forward to the flag and the tree being on top of this beam when it goes up. All right.
All right, another big hand for Mayor Ed Lee and his leadership. Also joined today, there are many community groups, there are many contractors, along with all the other people that the mayor mentioned. The next person I'm going to ask to come up and say a few words is someone in 2010, when the bond went on the ballot, really went out of his way with his leadership to make sure that the bond passed. And that is why we are here today. When that bond went to the ballot, every 4 out of 5 voters voted a yes for it. And that signifies the importance of why public safety facilities in San Francisco is very, very important. Leading that effort in 2010 was our President of our Board of Supervisors, David Chu. Would you please come up and say a few words?
Thank you, Mohammed, and thanks to all of you. And I want to just take a moment to talk about where we are in the history of our city. This morning, as the mayor mentioned, at 5 o'clock a.m. in the dark, we got together to commemorate the 107th anniversary of the Great Fire and the Great Earthquake. And I want to say, for those of you who are here this morning, y'all look a little different in the sunlight. But 100 years ago, our city burned down for the 6th time. And part of the reason for that was there was an awful lot of partying that was happening in Barbary Coast and North Beach, partying, as Chief Sir that still goes on today. And when our city burned down, we decided we had to rebuild our city. And in 1913, we built what was at that time the most amazing underground water infrastructure in the entire world so that we could get ready for the next earthquake and the next fire. We also built fire stations and police stations all over this city. Fast forward 100 years later to 2010. Many of these buildings, our underground water system, were in dire need of repair. And I have to tell you, I was a little reluctant to be the lead legislative sponsor and the champion at that time because we knew in June of 2010 the polls were not where they needed to be. There were folks within the administration that thought maybe we should wait for another ballot measure. But we came together, and I want to thank those of you who worked in that campaign. I want to thank our fire chief, Joanne Hayes-White, who put her face on 200,000 pieces of mail that went out to voters. I want to thank those of you who helped us to raise $400,000 for Prop B. I want to thank the men and women who are standing behind us in uniform, who got out of their uniforms to campaign for us on the city streets. I want to thank our police chief, Chief Sir. At that time, before he became chief, he was out there marching with all of us, making sure that this got done. And it got done not at the 66% that we thought it was going to get done, but it got done with 80% of San Francisco saying we need to be prepared for the 21st century. Now, let me tell you, there are, in addition to what the mayor said and the fact that this project is coming in on budget and on time, there are a couple other reasons why I'm really excited about it. First of all, as someone who used to work at the Hall of Justice, that building is going to come down. We need to make sure that we are ready with our command center when the next big one hits. Another reason I'm so excited about it, though, is when the fire was burning in 2006, it took 96 hours for that fire to come under control. My understanding is this building, even if all of the grids are knocked out, even if electricity doesn't pipe through San Francisco, this building is designed to be operational under the most primitive circumstances for 96 hours. But part of also why I'm so excited about this is, as a city, we are a city that knows how to rebuild. We are a city that knows how to take our steps forward. We are the Phoenix. And this building represents the very best of what San Francisco is going to be about as we move forward to deal with any challenges, any adversities that happen in the 21st century. Thank you so much for being here.
As Supervisor Chu said, these bonds are very important. We have a few department heads who the Public Works Department has had the opportunity to work for, and I'm pretty sure all their projects, they're very happy with the delivery. Our former Director Ed Riskin, is in the crowd. Where is he? Please. Thank you, Ed. We also have the Port of San Francisco Director, Monique Moyer, here. And we have the Acting Director for the Department of Building Inspection, Tom Huey, is right behind me. Yeah. And I see a few of our friends from PUC, Capital Planning, and many of the other city departments. But the one thing I like about events in San Francisco, as we go around the city, every supervisor gets to speak on a project in their district. And I think the supervisor whose district we're in, Jane Kim, has got most of the projects that are happening in San Francisco. Yes, she does. Because I remember a few years ago, I only live up the street, up in Hunters Point. This place used to just be a lot of warehouses. And now we have this whole great Mission Bay development. And as part of Mission Bay development, we have the public safety building But we have many more projects that are coming here in San Francisco. We have the Hunters Point Shipyard that's coming online. We have Park Merced. We have quite a number of projects. And I think it's because of the leadership that our mayor has brought together along with the Board of Supervisors that make these projects happen. So, Jane, would you come up and say a few words about projects in your district?
Thank you, Director Nuru. Actually, I haven't heard the Bruce Willis reference. I knew our Chief Sir as the cuddly bear. That was my reference. District 6 is a very exciting place to be, as our residents know, and of course our members of the city family. Actually, for a while, the mayor and I were a traveling pair. We go to a groundbreaking once or twice a week. And actually, I got a bit of a break, and I forgot why. The mayor was actually in China, and so we held off on some of our groundbreakings, and so I got a little bit of a break to stick around the office. But it is very exciting in District 6. We have, the mayor had mentioned 37 cranes up, and a lot of them are here in the south of Market and Mission Bay and Mid-Market. There's a lot of change that's happening here, and as Director Nuru mentioned, when I first moved to San Francisco, I actually came here to come shopping for furniture, because this is where a lot of the warehouses were. And a lot of what you see around us wasn't here even 10 years ago. District 6 grew its population by 25,000 residents in 10 years, from the 2000 census to the 2010 census. And so we actually boast one of the busiest fire stations in the country, Fire Station 1 under Chief Hayes White, and we certainly boast the busiest police precinct here in San Francisco, Southern Station. And I do have to thank Chief Sir not only for his leadership, but also granting us Captain Redmond, who has been a tremendous public safety leader here for the south of Market, and I know our residents really appreciate his dedication and commitment to the south of Market and Mission Bay. The public safety station is going to be very exciting. It really shows the city's commitment to public safety. And as our district grows, that type of dedication is very important. And this is an instance of where city government works. So many different leaders and city agencies had to come together to make this possible, whether it was the police department, the fire department, DPW, DBI, the mayor's office, the board of supervisors. I also want to recognize our residents that are a big part of that public safety as well. We have members of our NERT team here in South of Market and Mission Bay. All of our city works together to keep our city safe, and that involves both our taxpayer dollars, bond dollars, but also the volunteer hours of our residents who want to work to make this neighborhood and city great. So it's really an honor to be here to sign the last beam of steel. I was told that there are 6,206 pieces of steel in the building behind us, and that if you lay it flat from the ballpark behind us, it would go all the way to the Oakland Coliseum. And that is pretty incredible. But I know I'll be hanging out here because for a while, at least as we wait for more development to happen in Mission Bay, this will certainly have one of the best views of our games. So I'm sure some of us will be coming out to champion our Giants team as well. So thanks for everyone for being here. And of course, thanks to everyone who is involved in making this very important effort for our neighborhood happen. Thank you.
So I've worked for the city for over 13 years. And one of my first jobs was to maintain the Hall of Justice. And so I can't tell you how happy I am today to be standing here. I just can't tell you because of all the needs of that facility. And in those days, the designs were a little different because we have a jail on top, and then we have Chief Sir's office underneath there, and then we have DA's office, and we have courthouses. But all the maintenance needs for all the activities that happen on top required huge maintenance hours and huge amounts of staff time to come in and repair. So I am very, very happy to be here. But I'm going to ask Chief Sir to come and talk about his vision of what he would like to see happen here and the move out of the Hall of Justice. Since he's a resident there, he has all those experiences, and he might want to share some with you. Chief Sir, come up and say a few words.
Chief Sir. Thank you all for being here. To say, I mean, when we do press events, we say a lot that this is big. but it's not that often you get to stand in front of something where you can turn around and actually say, that's big. This is so tremendous. I mean, I can't even tell you how excited we are as a police department. The Hall of Justice was built in 1960. The mayor referenced the 107th anniversary of the earthquake. If that earthquake happened today, we'd be out of luck, at least at the Hall of Justice. It would probably come down. We don't know what the loss of life would be, but that's all we have. When an earthquake happens, because around here we know it's not a question of if, but when, this building, as Supervisor Chu said, can sustain itself for 96 hours. And that's really what we ask. We have 72hours.org. Take care of yourself. Just let us do what we need to do in their first 72 hours. This allows us a whole additional day to get where we need to go. And there are more people to thank than I can count. Obviously, the men and women in uniform are beholden to all the people that are behind me wearing orange vests and helmets. Thank you so much for the work that you do. HOK and Mark Cavaniero. HOK and Mark Cavaniero for the design, DPW and all the other agencies that are making it happen. Certainly Mayor Newsom and Mayor Lee for shepherding this through, the Board of Supervisors, the Police Commission, Chief Hayes White, on and on and on and on. And certainly, finally, but probably the most important are the voters who really did get it right in 2010 for the Earthquake Safety Emergency Response Bond. Again, Supervisor Chu referenced the Hetch-Hetchy system that was a 20-year continuous pour from 1913 to 1933, and that's just how smart San Francisco is. And this is another instance where, again, the city got it right, and the police department, the fire department, public safety is going to benefit. This will house the new Southern Station, and it's hard to believe that you could build one more thing down here, but I think Supervisor Kim would be welcome to have it. So anyway, thanks again. Can't tell you how excited we are to be here. And if it can open in November, that would be a great birthday present for me. Thank you.
All right, we'll take that request into consideration. But we do want to follow our schedule, and we do want to make sure things are done right, Chief, sir. So, but we'll do our best. Yes. As part of the ESA bond, we also heard there are other projects. And one of the key projects is all the renovation of many of our firehouses. And our firehouses have been in desperate need of upgrades, bathroom facilities, paint facilities, just upgrading them and bringing them up to standard. And that was also some of the funding that was passed by the voters in 2010. And as part of the project, we heard about HOK and Mark Cavaniero. The design, I think, was very challenging, bringing the two police stations, the firehouse, and the one thing that has not been talked about, which is the community facilities, which is the old firehouse that was preserved and blend in with the architecture of the area, and it will be a facility for community groups and people to be able to use. And that, I think, is a very, very important facility. We sometimes build great facilities and do great things, but we forget to make enough spaces for us to go and talk and enjoy and talk about the future of what we can do. And so I'm happy that the fire station is included in this building, but we are doing 19 other fire stations. And so Chief Hayes, would you come up and say a few words, please? Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. It's very fitting that on April 18th, 2013, as we reflect, commemorate, and celebrate our city's great history and resilience on this very day 107 years ago, we're here to talk about continued strength in public safety and in our community. Let me first acknowledge the men and women that are here with us today from Engine and Truck 8 and Battalion 3. Thank you for being here. They work off of the Brannan Street station, so they'll be the neighboring station to our new station here. We're also joined by our ambulance unit, Medic 77. Thank you for being here. And I'm very proud of the men and women, all of you standing behind me, but particularly want to acknowledge my command staff, as well as Commission Representative Stephen Nicasio, Commissioner since 1996. So thank you for being here. We are very excited about this project behind us. We will have a brand new fire station in the Mission Bay neighborhood. It's very much needed, as evidenced by what Supervisor Kim told you, a growth of 25,000 residents in 10 years. We have seen tremendous growth both commercially and residentially, and it's fitting that we now will be able to provide a neighborhood firehouse for this growing neighborhood. So we're grateful for that. I should also point out that it's the first of its kind where we get along very well in this town as police and fire departments, but this is the first time we will be sharing space together, and I'm really looking forward to that. I have plenty of nicknames for Chief Sir. I think I'll hold off on that right now, but we're delighted to be sharing space with them. Their space is a lot bigger than ours. We'll just have a neighborhood fire station here, but it's very exciting. It's brand new. It's the first of its kind here in San Francisco. We're delighted, and as a native San Franciscan, what Mohammed Nuru alluded to is I'm very proud and delighted to have preserved and we will restore the old Station 30. It's a 1930s facility, the beautiful brick facade that will now become a community center. And on the top floor, we will house our fire investigation unit, which is also a joint fire and police endeavor. So we're really excited about that. Lots of people to thank, of course. Many people have already been thanked and acknowledged. First and foremost, Mayor Lee, for always being a champion of public safety. It's a number one priority for him, as it should be. Like Chief Sir said, the community, 80%, and President Chu had a lot to do with that. In 2010, when the economy was very, very difficult, everyone was skeptical about putting a $412 million bond on the ballot, but we resoundingly heard from the community that this is important. Public safety is a priority. And with nearly 80% of our community saying yes, we need to improve public safety by building the police department a facility that they need and can work out of, and it being very sustainable. In addition, we've had so much deferred maintenance to our 43 fire stations. This bond will have touched, at the end of the bond, 22 facilities. And obviously there's more to go, but it's done a huge amount to bridge the gap. So we're grateful to our partnerships with the Department of Public Works. Two people that we work closely with are Charles E. Garris and Gabriella Sorelli-Judd. Thank you very much. And it is all about partnerships. Mayor Lee, under his direction, and then Mayor Newsom, have not only asked us, but demanded of us, and rightfully so, that as departments, we don't operate in silos, but we work collaboratively, creatively, and collectively to end up having projects like this. Last thing I want to acknowledge is the people also in the orange vests, as Chief Sir did. You're sort of our unsung heroes. Those of us in uniform, we get a lot of credit and acknowledgement, but thank you to every one of you that is putting your hand on this project. And we look forward to the fall of 2014 when we'll be able to move into these facilities. Thank you.
All right, are we ready for that beam to go up? All right, so I'm going to ask Frank Murphy, representing Pankau Contractors, who is the lead contractor on the project, to come say a few words and get that beam going up there. All right, Frank.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I can get you built November 14th if I can get a complimentary get out of jail card for you. Something like that, right? That work? Gotcha. Okay. So I'll make it quick. We're still going to have time for people who didn't sign the beam to be able to sign the beam. We'll just ask you to step back in a couple of minutes. We've been out here for about 16 months. I just want to throw a couple of stats at you. We've had 0 complaints from the neighbors. We've had minimal first aid injuries on this job site. You know, and on a job site this big, things can happen very quickly out here. And it's due to the dedication of the labor force out here and the communication between the higher ups in my company and the people down in the field that make this happen. I can tell you, coming from the field, and I am a field person, that I sit in a lot of meetings with the city of San Francisco and designers, and if talk could build a building, it would be a lot taller and a lot quicker. So it's tough for me to sit in those meetings, but they're dedicated meetings by these people, and they're important meetings. They set the tone for what's going to be built out here. But at the end of the day, it's the people standing behind me that are building this building in the orange vest, in the green vest, that make the difference out here, that is going to build the building for San Francisco and make all of us proud. And I couldn't be happier to build a building for the police department and fire department of San Francisco, and I know these guys are all excited about it. This is a very high-profile building, and we put a lot of time and dedication into it. And I just want to once again thank the field guys out here. We talk about it all the time. We try to communicate that to each other, but sometimes, during the course of a job, you feel underappreciated. But I think a few people out here said it. I wanted you to know that the senior person on site appreciates you. I want you to know that the city of San Francisco truly appreciates you, because in many of those meetings this is brought up that it couldn't be done without you. So once again, thank you for the construction people building this building. We appreciate it. So, if everybody who didn't sign, who would like to sign the beam, kind of meander up and do it as, meander's the bad word. Could you quickly go up and sign it, and then back out of the way so we could start getting ready to raise the beam? Thank you.